School choice can be scary. As a matter of fact, if you're not scared or a little bit apprehensive about what school your student athlete is going to, you probably should be. And that's because whether you're selecting a high school or considering switching to another high school, there are so many factors that will be the determining factor for whether or not your high school athlete experiences success. When I think of school choice and how scary it can be, two scenarios come to mind. The very first one is something that occurred to me when I came home from playing in Europe for 6 years as a professional basketball player. I had hurt my knee, and so I was training and rehabbing at a local facility, a local gym, and there was a mom that came into the gym. She had seen me in there working out every day, and she basically came in and asked me if I would be interested in training her son. And so I didn't really have a lot going on at this time, and I was like, yeah, I'll try it out. And so her son's name was Adam, and he was a high school sophomore at the time, and we began to work together. And I quickly realized that Adam had game. Adam had skills, and we would work out nearly 3 or 4 days a week. Adam was a freshman. He was going into his sophomore year, and he wanted to make the JV team because his team had a really stellar basketball program, and there were tons of really good sophomores that were coming up, incoming sophomores, but there were tons of really good freshmen as well and juniors in the class above. And he was worried that he was going to feel the squeeze and maybe not make the JV team. Mind you, in my mind, Adam was good enough to play varsity. I mean, he was a great guard. He was really heady, could shoot. And even that summer, he grew to about 6'2", and we were putting in the work. There were times where I was in law school at the time, and there were times when he would call me in between classes like, hey, can we get a workout in today? His school was pretty close to mine, and so he'd drive over and we'd train. And so he was just locked in, and I really enjoyed working with him. After working together that entire summer and fall, Adam went to his tryout in the fall and was told he didn't make the team. The coach didn't like his style of play, plus the other player, there were so many other good players that there just wasn't space for Adam. I began to see less and less of Adam. He actually, what was weird to me, he began to lose weight because over that summer, he had begun to lift weights, had gained some weight. And after 4 or 5 months, 6 months after not making the team, Adam began to lose weight. We saw each other less and less. Fast forward 6 months later, and I hadn't seen Adam. And I saw his mom at the gym, and I asked, how's Adam doing? And his mom told me that he wasn't doing well, that he had gotten into some drug use, and they had actually checked him into a rehab, and Adam was essentially fighting for his life or for his future. And this was a devastating story because what this taught me was that environment is everything. And where we choose to plant ourselves or plant our high school athlete is critical. Because as a high school athlete, you only have 4 years. You only have one basketball or whatever the sport may be. There's only one ball out there. There's only 5 players that get a chance to play. There's only 1 or 2 players that get a chance to really be aggressive and actualize their skills and talent. And so finding the right environment is everything. I go back to my story as an 8th grader when I was in a similar situation. I was in a very big school. There was kind of a squeeze, and we had over 15 players on our 8th grade team. Now, I was lucky enough and talented enough and blessed enough to be a starter. However, I barely played because everybody had to split and get the same amount of minutes. When you compare this to students at other schools who had similar skill sets to mine that were playing the entire game and playing the entire season and maybe even playing up on another team, they were progressing at a rate much faster than myself because I simply wasn't in the right environment. Well, my parents made the decision to switch schools for me. It did everything for me. I actually got to a place that was that saw my talent, that believed in me, that believed in the development of my talent, and the rest was history. You guys know my story, or you can watch other videos. Suffice it to say, my jersey now hangs in the rafters at that same school, and I finished up as the school's all-time leading scorer. Well, what these two differences in situations taught me was that the engagement is essential. And often as parents, we prioritize a place, a location. Maybe it's academics, maybe it's the social setting, maybe it's the politics or the demographics of the school, where we must prioritize engagement, because what makes your young athlete tick, which is probably their involvement in their sport, we can't negate that. We can't diminish that. We can't look past that. We've got to respect that. And there's often a negative stigma about doing so when it comes to athletics. And we have to overcome that, because if our child was a great singer or actor, we wouldn't hesitate to send them to Juilliard or some acting college, or some acting school. If they were a great musician, we wouldn't hesitate to put them in a school that's got a great band. If they were a great mathematician or STEM student, we wouldn't hesitate to find the school with the greatest STEM program. But why do we hesitate to find the school that has the correct athletic environment for our student athletes? What often plagues parents is the fact that they just don't know. They don't know how to select. They don't know how, even if they chose another school, they can avoid the situation. And that's why you can go to our website, you can get our free guide. We also offer a step-by-step consultation to actually get in the trenches with you and help you select the school that's best for your student athlete. But remember this, because at the end of the day, what that experience gave me was not just becoming a great basketball player or realizing my dreams. It changed me as an individual. It taught me that my hard work mattered. It taught me that my skill set and my talent was special. It taught me leadership. It taught me perseverance. It taught me to believe in me. And that's what, as a parent, you have to realize, that enlightenment is everlasting. Once you learn these things, once we take on these character traits, they go well beyond the athletic setting. They go well beyond the basketball court, and they impact our students for life. And so, isn't that the greatest education we could ever hope for our kids? And so, this is all about getting you to recognize the importance of school selection, that environment is everything, engagement is essential, and enlightenment is everlasting. And when you prioritize environment, you will ultimately end with the everlasting benefit that you'll be so thankful for. That you'll be so thankful that you walked the paces, that you did your due diligence, that you cared enough to be willing to consider, is this environment the right one for my student athlete? So I hope this helps. I hope you take your school selection seriously for your serious student athlete, and thanks for watching.